What is up, RotoGrinders? 2 hours nonstop NBA DFS conversation on a Friday night. Dean here, Dean 7894. If you want to get all technical, just watch a little bit of afternoon hockey while I was doing some content. The Panthers over there playing in Finland. Your defending champion, Stanley Cup champions. I know people are excited about the Panthers still taking down Dallas. So shout out to the Panthers. But yeah, 2 hours NBA DFS, 7-gamer on DK, 9-gamer on FanDuel. Lots of body parts to monitor, lots of cheapies. It's a stars scrub slate, far as I can tell. And it might even get more so because we have Cat. You know, Cat's got a wrist, so he's questionable. Anthony Towns quickly, not officially out, but I assume he's not going to play. He's doubtful. We know his teammate Scotty Barnes still is dealing with that eye. The Bulls can really lose some guys. Levine is currently questionable, appears to be highly questionable. Patrick Williams, another guy, questionable. Miles Turner, also questionable. We saw last time Isaiah Jackson drew the start, but we already have tons of value plays with CJ McCollum being out for New Orleans. There's a lot of cheapies. It's feeling like a star scrub slate. You should like your lineups tonight. You should not be digging in and try to figure out the 11th man who may play 20 minutes tonight. Chop, are you excited as far as the slate? I'm pumped. I really am. I think this is gonna be a fun slate. And I look. What? Oh, is that excitement, Chop? No?
You want to call it that, Dean? It's basketball. We got basketball on the horizon. That's for sure.
It is basketball. I mean, that's factually correct.
Here's what I do. Here's what I do like about the slate, Dean. DraftKings just gets us out of there an hour after the first game starts. An hour later, we're done. We don't have to worry about late swapping. We don't have to worry about following news. They get us in, they get us out real quick. I like that. So we got that going for us tonight. You know, and that's a good thing. And otherwise, it's just basketball. You try to build some lineups that aren't too chalky and take something down. I don't know, Dean. Dean, I don't know if anybody ever told you this, but you might be the premier DFS host out there. You know that?
Is this like a setup or something? you're never this guy. What is the setup?
I think you need to know that, Dean. I think you need to know that. You're irreplaceable, buddy.
That is kind of you to say. I'm going to take it at face value and assume you're being genuine. But thank you. I'm not trying to prompt this out of you, but that is kind of you to say, Chop. And it is always a pleasure to work with you as well. And we always appreciate your analysis. Who else could say, as far as the basketball slate, it is basketball? Like Bobby didn't know. Bobby was taking notes. He was right. Oh, it is basketball. Like, Bobby, did you know that the NBA slate tonight is basketball?
I didn't know until Chop informed me. And once I was informed, I was happy to know that I was on an NBA show. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I know you were on the Blender show earlier today. So Did you talk football or you talk basketball? I didn't watch. My apologies. I was thinking and doing content and watching the Panthers. But is this your second time around or you were talking football earlier today?
It's my second time around. We had fun. I enjoyed the show at Blender today. It's pretty good.
You say that more fun than you plan to have on this show, or now the challenge accepted? Let's have more fun than Blender's. He's a good time for sure.
He's a good time. Definitely. Yeah,
not the premier basketball host.
Dean, at the end, I'll give you a grade. I'm not about to go there and say you're the greatest host in the history of DFS like Chop. I don't need you know what I mean? I don't need a brown nose, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll take it a step at a time here.
Just Chop, though, I don't make any executive decisions, just for the record. I don't make any, but it's just Chop just unprompted being kind. And there you
Dean,
go. I appreciate it.
I have to say that I would never. I'm not the guy that says nice things just because I think, oh, this guy's gonna do my schedule well. You know, I don't. You know, I'm not that guy. If I say it, because that's the way I feel, Dean. So
I appreciate it.
I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying everything I say might not be true. You know, like everything I might say, damn, the Astros are going to win the World Series next year. That's my opinion. I really feel that way. It might not be true, but that's just the way I feel. So
it's fluid. Like the NBA slate is fluid. Like the body parts are fluid. It's fluid. Like maybe I can just tank in the next 5 minutes, and all of a sudden you can reevaluate everything. I do also want to mention tomorrow night's probably going to be a mess as well, because there are, I think, 8 or 9 teams playing tonight that's on the front end of a back-to-back. 0 teams playing the back end of a back-to-back. But Boston, they're running it back. They're going to face Charlotte again tomorrow. They're resting Al Horford tonight. He'll be back tomorrow. They're probably going to rest somebody tomorrow. We'll see. So Boston, Charlotte, Cleveland, Denver, Minnesota, OKC, Portland, Sacramento, Toronto. All of those teams are on the front end of a back-to-back. Bobby, we're going to go game by game here in just a second. If you want to say what's up to those hanging out in chat, hit that like button. So, hit the subscribe, turn on notifications so you know when we're going live. We're taking you all the way up the lock tonight. Well, we're going to hand it off to crunch time around 6:15, 6:20 or so. I believe it's TJ, Taylor, and Roth holding it down. Anything big picture-wise here, Bobby? Do you agree with the thought process that it certainly feels like a stars scrub slates? If you go to lineup HQ, this is kind of a cheat code, but point per dollar stuff like Luke Cornett. Speaking of Boston, your Celtics sometimes, especially when on the road, they don't mess with your parking. Cornett should be a good fantasy point per dollar play and play around 25 minutes or so against Charlotte, which is a great matchup. The absence of Horford. Banchero's done so for a while for Orlando. It's a real bummer because he was obviously taking a big leap. He is spectacular. So Orlando opens up as an interesting play today. Suggs still looks pretty good. Jonathan Isaac, not sure if he's going to start. Maybe he starts. We'll see. But probably plays like 20 to 25 minutes. He's a good fantasy point minute player. Jose Alvarado, still the thing there in New Orleans, still way too cheap. Atlanta is still super thin, obviously. We'll get to it. Roddy seems to be too cheap. Do you feel this slate is star scrubs, and are you leaning in on that, or maybe you're going to go kind of balance? Is that something we should consider?
No, I'm currently leaning in on the star scrubs approach. Orlando value looks pretty good. Alvarado looks pretty good for the Pelicans. Atlanta has some value. Reese Shea, I think, stands out a little bit. Luke Cornett, this is great.
You don't like it?
No, I like it. 3,400 is fine. We're not interested in playing Queta either, right? Are we interested in Queta? How many of these Celtics?
It's a little ambitious.
It's a little ambitious, correct? Yeah.
I mean, he's not. He could certainly get to like 25. We're projecting 15 minutes. That was kind of what I was saying at the top of the show, and that is like large field. Everything else is kind of chalky, and you just play Queta, and blowout stuff. If the game blows out, he would probably get 20 minutes. So he's a good fantasy point minute player. So it's not bonkers. It's just opportunity cost, center and center only. That's your conversation, not my conversation. I don't play in those streets. But
I'm only not going to say it's insane tonight, so it's not going to be more. Only playing 4 teams. Yeah.
So I would have a hard time. I would have a hard time clicking that button. Cornett center and center only. He's 3-4. Queta's 3-2, and it's going to be some combination of those guys filling in for Horford. Good matchup, of course, against Charlotte. I think that is one of our first games. It is our first game. Choppy, anything else big picture wise as far as the slate? Do you agree? Star scrubs is basically the route. Maybe 1 star and then a bunch of stuff in the mid tier. Have you figured out your lineup just yet, or
Oh no,
it's kind of fluid? Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even building one lineup. I'm doing like 150. So.
Whoop.
Yeah, well, I mean, they gave us the sprint slate. I mean, you got to take advantage of it because I'm not going to sit down there during the week most times, and we got to wait till the West Coast game. So you might as well take advantage of it. But I haven't figured that out yet. But I mean, that seems like a good idea. The one thing I've noticed so far is that whenever you get this value opening up, it just makes everybody's on the same value, and then you just got to figure out which one is. Maybe one's not as good, and we'll talk about guys like Jonathan Isaac here when we get to him. Oh, buddy. Every time something happens with Orlando, he pops. Like, right. He's like the guy that ends up and he's like 90% of the time he's terrible. But you got that going for you. But so yeah, I haven't like figured out the exact lineup combinations, but it probably stars and scrubs to some extent. But I think the bigger picture here is, what did Bobby get for Halloween last night? Was he like, did he collect a bunch of candy?
My kids did, and then I ate it. But I'm sure you know that game, Chop, because you're ahead of me in the dad street. So Yeah,
You got to expect it. You got to inspect it, right? That's what you say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've kind of moved on from like first of all, I don't even like the sugary nerds and gummy stuff and all that garbage. I don't like that.
Reese's?
Yeah, I like the chocolate peanut butter combination kind of stuff, Kit Kats, all that good.
That's
That's
the stuff
good.
I don't like.
Yeah, I like that stuff. But we've kind of like progressed in our house. We do more like brownies and cupcakes, man. We make my wife makes a bunch of stuff, man, for everybody.
You give brownies out for Halloween? Like
no, we don't give them out for Halloween, but that's for the guests who come over. And of course, like I'm kind of a guest, so I'll just eat the heck out of it. So like I just polished off a cupcake right before the show, man. It was good. She filled it with strawberry and everything. It's crazy.
Did you fill it with any ingredients from your son's plants, the brownies?
Oh man, that'd be nice. That'd
be nice. Callback, Bobby. I guess that's a no. It's a non-answer. Okay, let's go ahead and go game by game. Very first one we talk about it. Boston and Charlotte. This again, they're going to be running this back tomorrow night. See this a couple times this year in the NBA. We're just going to, I guess, for scheduling, for travel, they just knock both 2 games out back to back. This is the front end. Boston and Charlotte. 233 is the total. Boston 10-point favorite here against Charlotte. There's a chance we get Brandon Miller back. You know, he's got that butt. He's currently questionable. We'll see if he comes back. That would certainly, we're currently projecting him in for what it's worth. Obviously, we mentioned before, Horford is out. We're expecting Cornette to draw the start. We've seen Pritchard be like awesome. He's taking a step forward for sure this year, eating into Holiday's minutes a little as well too. And again, we'll see tomorrow night. But I bet you somebody rests tomorrow night for Boston, and Pritchard will be a thing on tomorrow's slate. He could be a thing tonight too, for all we know. But yeah, Chop, what are our thoughts here as far as Boston and the Hornets? Biggest team total on the board, I believe, is the Celtics. They have been spectacular this season. Tatum, we've seen take a step forward as well. I was a little bit surprised as far as the ownership on him. I thought it'd be a little bit higher. Last I saw was about 10%. I understand why it's that, but seems like something I would be over on if I was running 150 like you are. How are you handling Boston and Charlotte?
You know, I'm not really getting to a lot of people from this game, Dean. I'm just not going to get to him. Trey Mann on the Charlotte side, maybe he's still 5K. 5K or less is a nice little cutoff point there for some sort of value. So maybe Trey Mann pops up in a couple of my lineups. Man, I don't want to play Luke Cornette. He's not even a closer, right? Even if it's a blowout, he's not the closer. So I don't like Luke. I mean, golly, I get it. He's had a few games where he blows up. And he's cheap, but I don't know that I want to get to too much Luke Cornette. The Boston side in general doesn't feel great to me because I do think that they lost last game. I'm not saying there's a super narrative-driven thing there, but they will come out tonight, and I don't think they'll lose 2 in a row. And I think they'll probably put this game away relatively early, I think. So I don't know how much of those stars I want either on this particular slate. And like I said, LaMelo's played great, but 9,900 against Boston. How do you feel about that? He's probably going to get the Drew Holiday treatment for as long as that lasts. And, if not, then maybe Jaylen Brown plays him a little bit. So, and he's the one guy. Nick Richards has been great, but $5,800 now is what we got to pay for him. And I don't know that he's going to pull this. Like, that's $1,000 more expensive than the last game. So, while the projection stays about the same and people still want to play that, it's a big jump in price tag. So, yeah, I'm just not getting to a lot of guys in this game, to be honest. Nobody stands out to me.
Tatum is less than 10%, about 7% currently. LaMelo's not going to be played either. I will say the projection, I would prefer LaMelo if Miller doesn't go. He would just have even more things to do. We're currently projecting Brandon Miller in and playing 30 minutes. We are giving Pritchard a 13% ownership right now. You said you don't think that Cornette closes, and I'm not sure. You said that with confidence. I'm not confident.
Bobby did a throwback. I did a throwback from like 2 weeks ago when there was a discussion of Luke Cornette being a closer. Because Kirky Deese, he gave me a bad prop. He said Cornette over the 6.5 points. It's going to be a blowout, and then I missed it, and he didn't even play the fourth quarter. And then you come on the next day, and you needle me, and you go, Luke Cornette's not even a closer. Remember?
No. You misheard what I said. No, I said he doesn't mop up. What are you when you're saying
that's a closer, Dean?
Okay, so okay. Yeah, if the game is a blowout, Fournette's not out there mopping up. But if the game is a 5-point game, okay, I thought let's say it's a 5-point game. Do you think Fournette closes? Because that's what I was
questioning. Like when they're healthy, of course not.
No, tonight. I'm talking about tonight.
Well, tonight's not the same as it was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, Al Horford was healthy. The whole team was healthy. By closer, I mean the situation tonight. Closer, and you said he doesn't close in the blowouts.
There's fine. 3 minutes to go, Chop. There's 3 minutes to go.
You were probably right that he's not a closer in garbage time.
Correct. That's the way it's been so far.
That means by default, Kirk Deese was wrong about his own Celtics. That's all I'm saying.
In the small sample, he was not mopping up. But my question is, Chop, and I think this is important. I'm not trying to keep going over. If this game is close, if it's a 3-point game with 3 minutes to go, is Fournette out there? White's out there, Brown's out there, Tatum's out there, and then it's some combination of Holiday. Holiday's probably out there.
Holiday.
Maybe Pritchard.
No,
he's
okay. I guess would it depend on the Charlotte lineup that's out there? Because if Charlotte goes small, and they don't really have a legitimate center anyway right now, maybe it's not Fournette. Maybe it is a smaller Boston lineup. So I don't know. It's a good question, Dean. Like, I'm not Luke Fournette. Man, he just doesn't move the needle for me that much, you know?
He's a good fantasy point minute player. It looks ugly a lot of times if you watch him play. Not the most athletic guy out there. And Charlotte kind of has to be small, right? Richard's just not the biggest center. And backup five, they're going to have some Grant Williams revenge game. Maybe he ends up closing. Mann has been very good too. Maybe he ends up closing. A lot of it's predicated on if Miller plays or not as well too, and we don't know that just yet. Jump in here, Bobby. This is your team, kind of, sort of, somewhat when you want it to be. Thoughts as far as Boston, and jump on Charlotte as well.
Only when they win, they're my team, Dean. Only when they win. I'm a bandwagon jumper. I will say this. It doesn't matter to me if Fournette is closing because he's starting. And in starting last year, Fournette averaged 33 DK points per game. So we can play some Fournette at 3.6. I'll be at 3.4. I'll be over that. I'm fine with Fournette. Good matchup versus Charlotte too, especially we seen what Podol did to Charlotte the other night. Not saying Luke Fournette is Podol, but bigs versus Charlotte have always been a thing. So I'm fine with Fournette. I think Chop made a good point though. These studs, I'm not really getting too many of these studs around the field with Tatum and Brown. Pretty much where I'm at with those guys. LaMelo, no real interest in LaMelo. Same thing. Would be more like the guys like Trey Mann, Peyton Pritchard, Namus Queta. If you're playing enough teams, I think those guys are the guys you kind of want to get to in this game. The value.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to game number 2, and it's, of course, another game. This is just how it goes with basketball that we're not exactly sure. We're talking in ifs and thens. New York taking on Detroit. 217.5 is the total. New York is about a 7-point favorite here. The injury that's most important to this game, of course, is Cat. Karl-Anthony Towns is dealing with the wrist, so he is currently questionable. As far as Detroit, it's just Oscar Thompson still dealing with his conditioning. They're talking in the chat about Cunningham, and Cunningham has been awesome. Brunson, by the way, has not. Just kind of throwing that out there. He's been dealing with the ankle issues several times. He's just kind of, if Cat doesn't play everything, throughout the book, he's going to play everything 47 minutes, give or take, and take a pile of shots. But right now I don't really like Brunson, which feels, there's a question on the expert survey they asked Chop, and they say, who's the one player you're most afraid of not having enough of? And Brunson currently is the guy I'm not really going to be on, I don't think. And Detroit's not as terrible as you want to think they are. Jalen Durham, by the way, really scuffling so far to start the season. Rebounding is down. The fouls are up. But if there's no Cat, he can be kind of sort of someone interesting. What's weird is his price is not moving, and it should be dropping. But I can't get to him. I'm just sort of thinking about this. Detroit is essentially just Cunningham and Ivy. I don't think there's really anybody else you can play on the Detroit side. But yeah, Chop, we have a New York team. There's a tight rotation that would get even tighter if Cat doesn't go. I know we have an if-then set up. I was just looking at it before the show. What was our if-then for New York? Because if we see Cat sit, What is our projected minutes for everybody else? Brunson 36, Hart 37, Bridges 37, OG, who could play some backup 5, 35 minutes. McBride 26, Sims 22, Payne 16. It would just Sims would be somebody that might all of a sudden elevate, but I don't think any of the backup whatever that might jump in will be better than Cornette, will be better than Isaac. I don't think. That's sort of my take. Chop, best we can do here right now, New York, Detroit, what do you got?
Yeah, the one guy for Detroit is Cunningham that will probably end up in some lineups for me. That's the one guy on that side. Otherwise, not a big fan of Detroit here in this against the Knicks. For the Knicks side, there are a couple. Yeah, it's going to be dependent on Karl Anthony Towns. Obviously, that's a big deal. If he's out, everything you said holds true. Like every one of those guys gets a few extra shot attempts in there, and that's what they really need. Those defensive guys, they need that extra, a little bit extra on the offensive end, so that'd be good. I am not getting very much Jalen Brunson either, but the one guy in the game that I am getting, because I do have recency bias, Dean. Like I'm a game log watcher, man. That's Josh Hart. Like he's been good. Like I give him credit. He's been pretty good here. Even with Cat in there. And so if Cat is out, yeah, we've seen what he can do when he's in that. He's already going to be like he's 37, 38, 42 minutes. That's what Josh Hart does, right? He's going to play a lot. If he gets those extra shots because of Cat being out, yeah, he's going to do it again. He's going to crush again at a good price. Even if Cat's in there, he's still doing. He's $5,900, Dean. Like what? There's somebody out there, somebody in the DFS space. I forget who it is, but he once said we live in the world of a salary cap, and this guy's $5,900. So that's all.
I think that guy who said that's pretty. He's a legend, right? As a host or something.
I don't remember who it was.
I don't remember his name though. One day they'll be talking about.
Not very memorable. Yeah, Hart. I always thought he's the best rebounding guard in the league, right? I think we always talk about that. But 3 games in a row now where he's got a double-double. With rebounds. We've seen him get triple doubles in the past with assists. I think in the playoffs, I want to say he did at least once. That was when he's playing 48 minutes. Now he's getting reprieve, only playing 42 or 38. Yeah, certainly worth a look here. Bobby, what do you got as far as New York and Detroit? And I don't know if that technical issue was kind of a glitch. Was that my end? Were you guys getting something funky there? I'm not sure if my video is an issue, but hopefully we're good now. I think everything's kind of cleared up, at least for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's on your end. Hopefully it's not me because I can't afford any more technical issues with this internet situation. I will say this. Josh Hart, I'm with Chop 5,900. We do live in the world of a salary cap. He's probably my favorite play in this game currently. Cade Cunningham's been an absolute stud. 8,500. Like I could see him eventually breaking the slate. So he's someone I definitely want exposure to. I'm under on Brunson. Towns, I think, is interesting. If he like 8,100 for Towns, I don't know. There's not much outside of that. Like, I guess you can play Jalen Duren at 6,100, but not too much exposure this game outside of Hart and Cunningham. That I'm going to be overweight on. I like Cade in tournaments. I think he's just coming into his own.
Also worth mentioning as far as the pace of this game, 2 of the 3 slowest teams so far this year. So it doesn't seem like the greatest environment. The 217.5 basically is telling you that as well. But the New York, like really, really tight rotation certainly can make up for that. And like we said, if Cat is out, like Sims is power forward eligible at 3K. So he would probably start. Don't know if he would close. Bouncy. He can get rebounds. He can get blocks. He can dunk the ball. He would be interesting. I'm curious to see how he would project if we happen to lose Cat. Our update on Brandon Miller and his butt. No update at all. It's a game time decision. So thanks for nothing, Charlotte. That is 2 games down, 5 more to go in DK. A couple on FanDuel we'll talk about as well. Orlando and Cleveland, another game that has a really paltry total. 217.5 is the total. Orlando, real big bummer for them, losing their superstar Banchero. He's got an oblique. He's done for at least a month. Was it 6 weeks possibly, maybe more? So we're expecting Jonathan Isaac to draw the start. Not certain, but expecting. Suggs, KCP, Wagner. Oh, by the way, oh man, I had a great lineup the other night, and Orlando is just a bunch of liars. They keep taking him off. They took off the injury report, and he got sick again. Like, just don't play the guy. If he's sick, he's left 2 games back to back due to illness, and he's off the injury report again. So I guess he's fine, but I'm scared. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, not going to fool me again. But they might, because they might play Wagner. He should at least get some a little more usage shuffled his way. Of course, the matchup against Cleveland is not necessarily prime. Cleveland is playing faster these days, faster than they were last year. Both teams, in fact, are playing faster than they were playing last season. Who's going to make up the difference here, Bobby, for Orlando? Suggs projects really, really good at 5'8". Not as good on FanDuel, but certainly playable on FanDuel, but I like the price much better on DK. And then the Isaac conversation. I'll tell you what makes Isaac a lot easier to play, at least for me, power forward eligibility, power forward and center. So you got some versatility there. They like Anthony Black, with the number 6 pick overall last season. His offensive game is not that advanced, but his defense is good. He keeps him out there. He probably gets some more minutes. Not a great DFS player, but just trying to think of how those minutes will be distributed. And the last thing I would just say, it sounds kind of weird, but Goga Batadze being questionable might matter. We're currently projecting 6 minutes for him. I don't know how many more minutes you can give to Isaac, but if you can give Isaac 5 more minutes, they would probably come from Goga being out. Just kind of throwing that one out there too. And last I saw, he is questionable. Bobby, Magic, Cavs, what do you got?
Yeah, Jalen Suggs, I think he's going to pick up the slack. He's been fantastic to start the year, shooting 45% from deep currently. I love Suggs. Think he's a super strong play at 5,800 on the slate. So fine with having a good amount of him. Jonathan Isaac's always shaky chalk, but I currently have above the field on Isaac. So I don't know. Maybe Batazzi's out and those minutes do go his way. Mo Wagner, I think, is another play that we can definitely consider. Whether you decide to play Les Wagner as well, Chops guy, I think Les Wagner is also very much in play. That would be Franz Wagner. It would be him and Suggs as the 2 guys from Orlando that I want to get to for sure, especially in the absence of Paolo. I don't know. I think I prefer Isaac to Mo Wagner as value currently. Maybe that changes. But I think that this is a good game for the Magic. Cavs have been pace up, so really fine with getting to about 5 of these guys in my player pool.
I'm a little bit afraid that Cleveland just might kick their ass. Cleveland's been good, and Banchero being out is just a really big hit. You know who the number 1 team this year offensively is? Offensive rating? It's not Boston. Boston is second because Cleveland's the best offensive team so far to start the year. New coach Kenny Atkinson got them playing faster than they were last season. I believe they are, eighth fastest pace so far this season. We'll see how that stuff settles. It's only 5 games, obviously, but they're also 5-0. They're motoring. It's a different team in Cleveland. Mobley has been a lot better as well. They shellacked the Lakers the other night. Jump in here. You talk about recency bias here. Chop, how do you feel about Cleveland? You think they're more interesting? I think they're more interesting from a DFS perspective, especially when they're playing faster these days. And do you think Orlando can hang? And if they can, who do we like in the Magic?
Well, it's not a surprise that Cleveland has this offensive rating right now, Dean, because of their head coach. Coaching matters, at the professional level. And if you remember, he was the guy that was light years ahead of everybody in Golden State. Just saying. Some people.
Atkinson?
Yeah.
He was also the guy that I believe wasn't he signed in Charlotte to be Charlotte's head coach?
He was, wasn't he?
And then Charlotte's like, well, here's your assistant coaches, and he's like, no, I want to pick my assistant coaches, and Charlotte's like, no, these are your guys, and he's like, all right, have a good day.
I think I remember something like that.
Charlotte could probably use Atkinson, don't you think? With
Charlotte got a pretty good one. Charlotte got a pretty good one this year.
Finally, but they stuck with that nonsense
back in the day.
retrade.
Yeah. Well,
I can't. What was the guy's name? It was just terrible for like too many years. It seemed like a nice guy, but he was on autopilot.
So for the Cleveland side, nothing, no injuries here or anything like that. So maybe some Donovan Mitchell. Every once in a while Darius Garland sneaks in there and has a good game. I still, even without Banchero, I don't think Orlando's still a tough matchup. They're not exactly like an easy offensive piece to go against. So I don't know if I'm going to get too much Cleveland, but on the flip side, Jalen Suggs, incredible this year. Going to pick up even more slack with Banchero being out. We'll see what Franz Wagner does. He's got the fish, Dean. It scares me.
For 5 days? Doesn't the fish come out eventually?
Okay, so I don't know what he's got. Let's be honest.
We don't.
Kirk Dees couldn't work today. He's been sick for 2 weeks. So
yeah,
who knows?
If he's got what Kirk Dees has, I don't want to play him.
Exactly. I don't know what's going on there. So the optos will jam in Jonathan Isaac on a night like they just will, man. And a lot of times that's not good. Man, I don't know that he has a massive ceiling, but he's 3,600 on the Stars and Scrubs build. He'll probably end up in a few lineups. I get it. But the Jalen Suggs is the one big piece here. And Bobby mentioned Mo Wagner. Mo Wagner's pretty good. He's decent. I mean, somebody's going to pick up the slack here. And it's not just Jalen Suggs. Like, somebody's really legit going to blow up from the secondary pieces. And it might be Wagner. It might be Wendell Carter. I don't know.
Could it be less Wagner? Could it be less Wagner?
Again, we're talking about an illness that we have no idea. Like, I don't know, man, how the guy's feeling. Honestly, if I get something bad, I know how I feel when I get something bad. I don't want to go out and play no basketball, so I don't know. It's a tough one. But if he was
starting for the Magic,
okay. If he was healthy, yeah, Wagner would be great. But it's tough to recommend that when the guy's questionable again.
I was looking at I ran Court IQ. It's a really, really crazy small sample, so I'm not getting excited about it. But Suggs, without Banchero, sees a almost 14% usage bump. Again, it's like 8 minutes, but I just thought it was interesting. But like you kind of reverse engineer it. It's like it's not going to be KCP, right? Like as far as who's going to take a bunch more shots, it's not going to be KCP. It's not going to be Anthony Black. What do you got, Chop?
I mean, just the fact that Isaac is not starting will probably be enough to get him out of the optos.
Yeah, they're starting Black. Yeah, they like Black. But I think, if the game blows out, that also could hurt. I don't want to be paranoid about a blowout because he's not going to play the blowout.
I'm not sure. I don't want to play the blowout factor.
I think he still plays 20 minutes. Oh, do we have news on Goga? So they're starting Suggs, Black, KCP, Franz Wagner, and Wendell Carter. And there's still a non-zero chance that Franz Wagner doesn't finish this game too. Because
that's
I want to play him.
You know what I mean? Like, if depending on what kind of illness he's got, there may be some runs to the locker room. I mean, but Karl Anthony Towns is going to warm up with the intent to play. So
I love that. I love the intent. I always appreciate the intent to play. What do we have? Yeah, Black just can't get there, right? I don't think so. Like as far as being a meaningful player,
4,200. Yeah, he could get there, Dean. I'm just saying that if we were willing to play if Jonathan Isaac was the starter, everybody would be willing to play him. I've seen enough of Jonathan. I'll give Anthony Black a shot over Jonathan Isaac, man, as a starter. Like I'd rather go that route than the Jonathan Isaac if he was starting route. So I give him some credit. He racks up some pretty decent points, and he doesn't even need to shoot the ball. So fine.
Okay, yeah. What do we have as far as minutes for him? I'm guessing we had.
It's got to change now.
We give him 28. He might jump to like 31 or so. He'll probably get a couple extra, I would imagine. Projection team that's above my pay grade. I don't mess with that. We're giving Mo 19, Harris 19. We were only giving Isaac 21 anyway. So like either way, even if he started, he's not going to play quote unquote starters minutes. He's just a really strong fantasy point minute player, 1.26 on the season, and he's got that power forward eligibility too. I wonder what's the most minutes he's played this season. Like we know he's had a history of injuries, obviously very
Isaac, 14 was the max.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they could still get him to 20 here. And we got Orlando starting lineup, but we got nothing on Goga. They can't give us a Goga update. No follow-up questions there. Okay. All right. Bobby, anything else here? Does that change things for you, Bobby? Are we interested in
with Isaac coming off the bench? It definitely changes things for me. In terms of Black and KCP, let's give it a couple minutes to rerun projections. But I'm with Chop. Like, definitely not looking to play as much Isaac or any Isaac if he is not starting.
I think I'm still willing to play him. Maybe I'm being stubborn. And the other thing is the matchup, right? Because Cleveland got 3 big dudes. Allen, Mobley, Wade, you need some height there. And it's, again, some of it is predicated on Goga Batase's availability to me. But they don't really have a lot.
I'm willing to play him. I'm just not willing to play him at like 40% where I currently had him. So,
well, that's going to fall, right? That has to fall. Right?
Yeah,
I would imagine. But again, like, he might be projected for 19 minutes now instead of 21. Maybe I'm just trying to make it happen and just kind of let it go.
I think he does fit the mold, like with the length. They're definitely going to need the length with Mobley and Allen. So I just wonder why he's not starting in that situation. Like, they should, if the minutes are really solidified, he'd probably be starting.
Yeah, curious to see where the projection team lands on that. Anything else, Bobby, as far as Cleveland and Orlando, or shall we move on?
We can move on, Dean. Dino.
Okay. This is a fun game. Sacramento and Atlanta, 236.5 is the total. A fun game from our perspective as well, because there are lots of body parts being out. Still no Dyson Daniels for Atlanta. He's got that hip. Hunter is out with his knee. No Bogdanovich for a while. So Atlanta is thin. I think they have just had 10 guys as far as dressing and available. Keaton Wallace is one of those, and Mohamed Gui is one of those. So, like, their rotation is going to be super, super tight. Sacramento, revenge game for Kevin Huerter. Red Velvet, the number one team as far as yielding three-point attempts so far this season. Atlanta, the number one team as far as yielding made three-pointers. Atlanta. So Fox looks good. Huerter as like a cheapie de jour. He's like a cheapie nobody's going to be playing. I shouldn't say nobody. He'll grab some ownership. I don't mind him, especially on DK where you get the 3-point bonus. Little revenge there for Kevin. Kavan. Chop, you want to lead Sacramento and the Hawks?
I will. If you need me to. I'll knock it out for you, Dean. Like,
go for it.
We're about 4 games in, and I've led every game now. I don't know where the balance is in this starting lineup right here.
Bobby started at least one. Bobby, did I not start with you? I'm not doing this intentionally. Maybe I'm just not going up. I'm not a great host.
I think I started the last one. Chop feels a little bit. I think Chop's a little salty right now. I think he's a little salty.
Why is Chop salty?
You'd have to ask him, Dean. You'd have to ask him.
Here we go. Let's go.
Did something happen in the secret chat that I'm not aware of?
No, Bobby's not in the secret chat.
He's not secret chat worthy?
No, I didn't say that. Can't have, dude.
We have I've said this before. We have our own secret chat. We don't need to be in their secret chat.
General rule of thumb: can't have 2 Boston guys in one secret chat.
I bet you have more than one Boston guy in that chat.
It's just
Kirkwood and somebody else was asked Kirkwood.
There's no way.
He has no wingman.
There isn't Isn't the Siege in that chat? Isn't he? No.
What? The Siege. Oh, buddy, the Siege is the one where you have a secret chat just to make fun of a guy like Siege. No offense, Siege. Anyways, and he's, he was very upset last night that his Malachi Corley first touchdown didn't hit, and he posted that on Twitter. So.
I did not watch a second of that game.
I saw that and I thought that was pretty funny.
Can we stop with like dropping the? Is this so hard? To just hold on to the ball.
I've been saying that for years. How do you
not break? How do you not bring that ball across the goal line? It's your first touchdown and you're that excited.
Oh man,
you've been doing this since you're 8 years old.
Awful stuff.
That was a bad break for CJ. Definitely a bad break.
Yeah.
Chop, let's get back on track here.
Cost him tens of dollars. Okay. I mean, just outrageous. Listen, Sacramento fully healthy. It's a good matchup. Sabonis isn't, but it's tough to get to on a night like tonight when a team's fully healthy. It's going to be tough to get to any of their like mid-range or value guys. So Sabonis is the guy who's been crushing this year. You can go that route. Man, it takes something special for me to get to too much De'Aaron Fox, but every once in a while he pops up and has the big game. So I get that. But it's the Atlanta side with those guys missing tonight. Dyson Daniels out and Hunter out, and so that's the side you want to be on. Good for us that Zach Reacher is only $100 more expensive than he was last game, and he actually
Who's this now?
Zach Reacher.
Yeah, the number one pick in the NBA draft, Zach Reacher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Zach Reacher. He's finally starting to come around, Dean. He's looking solid.
He's like 19. What do you mean he's finally starting to come around?
You made a comment earlier. I think it was behind the scenes. You said, we're only worried about today. It's DFS. We're not worried about tomorrow,
Yes.
Bobby. We're not worried about
Say that.
We're worried about today, Dean. And right now, today, he finally had a good game last time out with 35 minutes. The big bump in minutes is obviously the big thing here. Like that was a massive jump in minutes for him. So anybody at 4,500 who's going to find the court for 35 or more minutes, maybe, who knows? Obviously, there's some sort of talent there, or else he wouldn't have been that high of a draft pick. So, yeah, that's the guy right there that will be in a lot of my lineups. And Sacramento is a pretty decent matchup in general anyway. So I'm on that. And, other than that, you could play it. Trae Young's been really good this year, and it's Sacramento, and you got the duel Trae Young versus De'Aaron Fox. Sometimes that works out in DFS. Play the two scoring guards against each other like that, and you get some of that. But Zachary Richeche, as they say in France, that's the guy you want to be on here. That's the guy I'm on.
The Trae role is obviously outrageous for assists. It's outrageous for shots. The usage is over 32% so far this season. And you want to pick on Atlanta. Atlanta, the third fastest pace so far this season, the third worst defense. I think Sacramento is like one of these teams, and then Chop, you're running 150. I think you're supposed to get over on guys like Fox and guys like Sabonis. Sabonis getting 11% currently on DK. Fox getting 6, Herter around 10. Again, they're a 3-point sieve as well. They're dealing with injuries. It's a great matchup for Sacramento. I like the Atlanta pieces, of course, as well. And Trae Young around 10%. And this is kind of the nature of the slate. And we'll talk about the big studs that are getting more ownership. But this feels like a game that you should probably gravitate to in tournaments. Not just the obvious pieces, but even Roddy. Did we mention Roddy is a cheapie? Like, we don't want to play Roddy, but he's super cheap. He's going to play probably 30 minutes or so. He's 4.2K on DK. Still some meat in that bone. And Jalen Johnson, we mentioned Jalen Johnson. He's awesome too. And his role is spectacular as well. 38 minutes because who else is going to play? You got to play this dude. Bobby, are you excited about Sacramento, Atlanta? It seems like a great environment, if nothing else.
Yeah, so Roddy's price came up a little. I don't think he's as clear a value as he was on the previous slate. What was it, Tuesday or Wednesday that he was value, where he played 32 minutes? It would be Richeche for me. 35 minutes the other night, 33 DK points. I think he's the strongest. I think he's probably the best value currently on the slate from this game. So I like Richeche a good bit. Going up, opportunity cost at center is absolutely loaded tonight. A lot of people are going to be spending up for AD. But Sabonis, I think, is in a phenomenal matchup here versus the Hawks. It's pace up. They don't play any defense inside. I could see Sabonis easily in line for approaching a triple-double tonight. So I don't know. What do we have for ownership on Sabonis? 10%, around that, I would imagine.
I think so. I kind of jumped to a different game, but 11% currently on DK. Center and center only doesn't help.
I like getting over on Sabonis, but yeah, it won't with Cornette being value and him being center and center only. I could see Sabonis getting somewhat squeezed. So I think he should be more owned than 11% on the slate. So he's someone I'm definitely going to be interested in getting to. Make the same case with Fox. I think Chop made a good point. Like running Trey and Fox back at each other isn't the worst play on the slate. We know Trey plays zero defense. Point guard's also a really strong position tonight. So I don't know. I think Fox is very much in play in GBPs. Trey would be. What are our thoughts on Trey? Like it's obviously a great matchup for him. I never get him right. I'm playing him tonight. Where are you guys at?
Yeah. I mean, the role is so good. He's not my favorite play on the slate, but like if you want to make a tournament lineup around Trey, of course, I'm good with that. Chop, you good with that?
Yeah, he's been great this year for sure.
Yeah, I would probably want to get a Sacramento piece on the other side. I think you don't have to force it necessarily. I don't know, Bobby, if you're forcing it, if you're hand building it. But yeah, run it back with Fox or run it back with Sabonis. Salary, of course, becomes a concern at some point too. And again, I think Herter is a nice little salary saver as well, not just because of the quote unquote revenge, but just like on matchup wise, he's going to get there on threes, and Atlanta has given it the most three-point attempts, the most threes that are made in the bucket. And he's still plenty cheap.
And you're a huge narrative guy too. You love the revenge. This is revenge.
I don't know how vengeful he is. I don't remember his exit. Like I don't remember if it was negative or not, to be honest. Maybe somebody in chat can let us know. I don't recall what the vibes were. Mabs is saying Roddy over Reacher to get different. And now I'm saying Reacher.
Yeah.
Chop?
Yeah, that'd be fine, I guess. Listen, Dean, here's the thing about Herter and the revenge narrative is this is not the first time he's played him. He's played him several times before.
How do you do?
He was very vengeful those first couple of games. The last couple of games, I think he got over it because he really drifted back quite a bit. So, but the first couple he was there. So I don't know that we can play the revenge narrative in this one.
He had an uneven year last year. It sort of depends when you catch him. And again, he's basically very heavily dependent upon if that 3-point ball goes in the buckets. Okay. Anything else as far as Sacramento, Atlanta, or shall we move on? Sounds like we're moving on. Looks like we're moving on. Okay, this is another fun one. Lakers and Toronto. 232.5 is the total. Lakers are 10-point favorites in Toronto, in Canada. The injuries have piled up, of course, for Toronto. No Scotty Barnes with his eye. We're assuming Quickly's not going to play. Kelly O, I don't think he's seen the court all season just yet with his back. Bruce Brown also dinged. Lakers fully healthy as far as guys that matter. Vanderbilt's out. Who cares? Christian Wood doesn't matter. So, Bobby, I have to go to you first here. I got to be a good host. I got to go to Bobby first. We got to distribute the ball fairly, right? We can't just give a Chop all the usage. Where are we starting as far as Lakers, Toronto? How do you feel about this game? And, is this game going to stay close enough? Which is, who knows? We'll see. Stay tuned on that. This is the front end of a back-to-back for Toronto for what it's worth. We did see Mogbo draw the start last time for Toronto, which is kind of interesting. And also Chop's boy, Rady Dick, got loose last time too. So maybe Chop wants to run that back. But yeah, I'm going to go to Bobby first. Raptors, Lakers. How do we feel with this?
Yeah, RJ Barrett, Jacob Podol, I think are pretty interesting. If I had to choose between Barrett and Podol, I'd probably be more interested in Barrett with Quickly and Barnes out currently. I don't know, RJ Barrett isn't the greatest player, but he's fine for me at 7,200 on the slate where you should assume more usage. I think I'll be a little bit above the field on him. Anthony Davis and LeBron James are going to be the two pay-ups that everyone wants to get to. My decision point is am I playing them in the same lineup? And probably not. Usually they don't get there together. So for me, I would prefer AD. He's just been on fire this year to start. Don't mind getting to him as much as possible. If you've seen the other night, Jacob Podol really struggled with Nick Richards. So I can't imagine what he's going to be able to do with AD, right? Could be a spot where AD just has a massive, massive game. And then for LeBron, not really. I feel like I'm going to be getting to him, but like I said, I'm not playing him with Anthony Davis. Austin Reeves is a guy who I think has made tremendous strides from last season and the year previously. So I can definitely play some Austin Reeves tonight. Yeah, I think Reeves is a good play. What's his price tag? Let me check.
Like 6-1, I want to say.
Yeah, 6,100 for Reeves. I think he's pretty good. That's really where I'm at from this game.
I would add Rui to the conversation as well. Rui's another guy that's like been really good so far this season. Don Yeezy in chat saying Rui and Gravy. I was on doing some blurbs, doing some tags today, and I wrote up Davis. I'll just go ahead and read this. But yeah, the Lakers have 120 point total tonight. Awesome matchup here against the Raptors, the NBA's worst defensive rating and the 7th fastest pace. They're horrific defensively and they play fast. As for Davis, year 22 for LeBron. This finally feels like it. Finally feels like the torch is being passed under new coach JJ Redick. We've seen usage flip. Last year, LeBron led the team in usage. Now it's Davis. Davis getting a healthy bump. 1.64 FanDuel points per minute, 1.6 DK points per minute. And I don't think Pirtle's going to be able to hang with them. Yeah, I'm kind of with Bobby. Just overall, I don't know about the can't play LeBron and Davis together. I hear that. I was debating it too, Bobby, and I don't know. I don't have an official conclusion. I'm fine though, playing Davis and one of Rui or Reeves. Of course, I don't know if I want to play both. Chop, is that a rule you put in? You're running 150 tonight. Did you put that rule in? Are you forcing that rule? You have a thought on that?
Well, I'm not forcing that rule, Dean, because I'm not going to mess around with too many rules for the NBA. But if I was hand building, I would definitely not. I would intentionally not have those guys in the same lineup. First off, for the Lakers, when you look at what they've done so far this year, we're only through about 5 or 6 games, but every game that they've played in has been an elite Western Conference matchup. They've gotten no break yet. I think they opened the year with Minnesota.
Cleveland they played, that was tough, yeah.
Oh yeah, but that's a tough team. Okay, not Western Conference, but still an elite matchup. Phoenix twice. I think those are big time. So now we're all of a sudden going to travel and go to Toronto, a team who's just tanking away. Yeah, man, I'm gonna be hard pressed to think LeBron gets up for this game, So I don't know how much I want of him, and just by default. So I don't know that I'll have both of those guys, and I just don't know that this is going to be a super close game. This could be this. Yeah, quickly is out for sure.
Yeah, they're messing with us. He was out a week ago, and they just couldn't tell us a week ago he's not playing for the next 10 days, whatever it is. But yeah. Okay.
So I definitely don't want two of those two big, what are the odds that you're paying that kind of price tag for those two guys combined and that they both get there in the same and in a game that probably has the highest probability of a blowout on the whole night? I don't like that. So
if we get OT though, if you're shooting for first,
yeah,
you got to tell yourself a story on that, right?
What's the spread? I don't think we're getting OT.
10.
Oh, anytime it's 10 plus on the road, and you're the road team and you're favored by that much, they're telling you how much better you are than the other team. But I mean, no, I'm not getting to those two guys. Now the price tag on Rui, the price tag on Reeves are still fine. So you can go there all you want. Anthony Davis, a star, sure. He can drop 60 in 3 quarters here and be done for the 4th quarter and still have it paid it all off. So, not two in the same lineup, but in general, Lakers are fine. Toronto, Barrett gonna get a lot of usage here with all these injuries. That's fine. Pirtle's fantastic. Gravy Dick, we know he's good. He's good. He's been good so far this year. That's fine.
Yeah.
Now
he's a shooter. He's a shooter. If he makes his shots,
and he's a good shooter. He's not a bad shooter. Now we got a big price jump on Mogbo, so there's no way I'm going that route. That's a big price jump.
You guys poo-pooed me on Mogbo the other night, and he had 33.
I'm gonna
well, hold on. I think the
poo-poo
it was before he was announced as a starter. To be fair,
it was a
surprise starter.
I think it was
more like
20. I think it was more like 25. I think it was more like 25 the other night.
It wasn't 20. Was it 25
against Charlotte? It was more like 25.
The lead is that he was a surprise starter, though. That's the lead. We didn't know he was starting.
The thing about him is he's an energy guy. and you're like hard pressed for him to get up a bunch of shots, and that's not a fun DFS roster, man. When a guy's like that, and then he takes these massive breaks, and like maybe it was just the rotation, but he wasn't in foul trouble. He just sits for a long time, man. Like I don't. So yeah, at 4,500, no thing. The 3,500.
You're going to throw on Davis, right? Is he going to be thrown on Davis? I imagine.
Who?
Good luck.
Magbo? He's not big enough. He's not big enough. He's like
he's like an oversized.
He's like an oversized wing. He's like an oversized wing. He's not going to.
He's going to get Pirtle. I think Davis is going to get Pirtle, and Pirtle gave up like a career night.
Maybe it's Bobby Boucher. Who knows? Like I don't know.
You think Chris Boucher can hang with Davis? Come on.
I don't think anybody can hang with Davis on this roster, but you got to find something because it's not going to be a wing player like Magbo, and it's probably not going to be cement foot Pirtle. So you try whatever you can.
By the way, Mitchell is telling us that Drake unfollowed LeBron on Instagram, so he's going to go up.
Ooh.
So yeah, Drake. I get he's still a Toronto fan. I assume he's from Toronto. I'm guessing is he going to the game tonight? I don't know if he's touring or not, but I don't know if that's like a real beef, a real thing, or a manufactured thing. But is Drake going to be front row? Is LeBron going to be showing off right in front of him? I have no idea. But I guess that's something to monitor. Adjust the power rankings accordingly.
This game's definitely in Toronto, right? Because I don't think Drake's in LA anytime soon, right? I would imagine.
I don't know what he's up to. I have no idea. Hurdle's the one that seems like he's looking good in projections, and I'm a little bit concerned on. He's one of those guys, like, how does he really get there to fully smash? And he's not going to get threes. He's not, he's not a great steals block guy for a big man. He's not going to get any assists. So he needs like an 18 and 14 kind of game. Rebounds. Like he can do that, I guess, but I don't know. Last I saw, let me just see where he's currently projecting now. Is he still going to be fairly owned? I prefer to play Barrett. Obviously different positions as well. What do we have Pirtle as far as ownership?
He's in the low 20s.
Yeah, 20%. I don't know if that's the best chalk. That's kind of where I'm at on it. Like he's fine for cash. I don't think it's something I'm going to play. Did we get an update? We did get an update as far as ownership about 5 minutes ago or so, boys. So if you want to give that a refresh, by all means, feel free to do so. Anything else here as far as Lakers, Toronto, or shall I move on? There's 2 more games in the DK slate. We're going to touch on the FanDuel slate, but we're going to let Crunch Time mostly handle that. They go position by position, give their favorite plays. Both FanDuel, both DK. Do want to answer some questions from chat as well. I did see one pop up. Chopper, Pirtle and Herder. Pirtle and Herder versus Richards and Carter. So it's Wendell Carter, I assume. You going to lean amongst those two?
Pirtle and Herder or Nick Richards and Wendell Carter?
Yes.
Yikes, I'd probably go the Wendell Carter side just because there's a chance. Wendell is a guy who can really get loose fantasy-wise. When he gets hot and he starts taking shots, he'll never stop.
He might have to. Somebody has to, right? We'll see. Don't like the matchup for him. I'll just say that against Cleveland, but maybe usage is enough to overcome the bad matchup.
Maybe
so. We just
it's not.
Go ahead.
You never know, Dean, because while these guys have a lot of length in there in Cleveland, Wendell Carter's a big body, so maybe he's like maybe he shacks him out of the way. You know what I mean?
Maybe, but like Allen's pretty big too.
Allen's just length, wingspan, and stuff. He's certainly not like beefy. That's for sure.
You're talking girth now. Okay.
I'm talking like pure raw strength, like Wendell Carter's a big boy.
All right. Butto wants to know, is this the week you take down a Millie? Are you due for another Millie chop for football?
Dean, I think I don't even know if I'm playing a Millionaire Maker this week. Here's the thing about DFS, and I was looking at at least for NBA, and I haven't really dug into the NFL, but for these NBA tournaments, Dean, man, I'm looking on DraftKings and I'm like, all right, let's find a good tournament. I want to, let me get in a good tournament. And everything is, and I was talking to Tuttle about this, everything is first place, X amount of dollars, 10th place, 1% of that. Like that's
steak knives.
Like, that's not sustainable. It's not good. It's not fun. Like I don't want to build a top 10 team and get $100 while this other guy's getting 10K for being 3 points better. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm kind of out on those kind of tournaments that are like that. So I don't know, Butto. It's tough, man.
It's a big bankroll suck. Yeah, you're talking my language too. I don't want to discourage anybody from playing those. Like if you want to chip in the chair and you want to tell yourself a dream, have a good Sunday and whatever, have at it. But I don't play them either. I don't play them either unless I get tickets or things like that. It's just not. I understand why they're out there, but it is not for me. Both you guys, of course, winning the Millie. Well, I guess Chop, you won FanDuel Millie twice, right? Only FanDuel, I think, 2 times, and Bobby won it on DK. Okay, 2 more games to go. We got the Bulls and Brooklyn. I was hoping to get some news. Of course, we did not. When will we ever get some news? 226 is the total. Chicago is a 2-point dog here. It's fairly high, and it is tight, and the Bulls have been flying. They've been the fastest team in basketball to start the season. This is not small sample size stuff. Like this is the organizational philosophy now. This is what they were doing in preseason. So anybody against the Bulls is interesting. So we don't know about Zach LaVine. That is important. Zach LaVine is currently questionable. We don't know if he's playing basketball tonight. Lonzo, of course, is out with he's got that wrist. It's a different injury as far as the leg. Jalen Smith and Patrick Williams also questionable. So 2 bigs, 1 starter in Williams. The Bulls can really, and talk about the slate flipping on its head. They absolutely can flip this slate where all of a sudden Kobe White and Josh Giddey would look awesome. Ayo Dosunmu would probably look really good as well. And I don't know if like both Williams. I know we had an if-then set up.
Yeah, we got them all. They're all in. Dude.
Oh, it just came out?
Yeah, it looks like they're all in. All the guys who were questionable are in. So no value there.
We spoke it into existence because Brandon Miller is but he can't play. Brandon Miller cannot play. He's out also. So the Charlotte projections are going to change a little bit as well. Man might get a little bit of a boost. Lonzo might get a little more usage as well. But no Brandon Miller. And also, I guess the chances of a blowout might have been heightened as well. Okay, so I'm glad because I did not want to mess with Chicago, and I thought the Chicago stuff would be really changing some things. Now we have the Bulls and the Nets. Chop, are we as excited about this game? Are we excited at all? Where's our excitometer for Bulls?
Yeah, it's fine. It'll be good. I mean, it would have been like, man, it would have been really hardcore if LaVine would have been ruled out. Then we really had some value, and yeah, it would have been interesting. But okay, but they're still fine with him in there. I mean, obviously, this is a good matchup with Brooklyn, who's not particularly good in very many facets of the game this year. So LaVine is okay. 7,300 is not a terrible price tag. He's been good this year. I do worry about a guy who's got a shoulder injury that's supposed to be that bad, and you're trying to shoot the ball. He needs to shoot the ball to reach value here. So I don't know, but I would have loved to have played some Kobe White, man, without LaVine. Now I don't know how much I'm going to get to there. I think Josh Giddey is a fine play here. There's going to be a lot of DFS scoring in this game, up and down, missed shots, steals, like easy turnovers. You can get into some easy turnovers. So I think Giddey's fine. Vooch is fine. Probing the middle there as the center. Back to the basket game against Brooklyn should be pretty good, especially on those minutes where Claxton isn't playing, when Claxton's off the court. And on the flip side, you mentioned the pace, a little weaker defense. Cam Thomas always going to thrive in those kind of situations. Cam Johnson's okay. Schroeder, man. He's 6,800. Is that how much of a price increase is that? Let me see. Oh, yeah, that's a massive increase from last game.
He's been awesome, Chop.
He's been great.
Fully justified.
It's justified. It's just, It was really easy plugging and playing under 6K. 68 makes you think a little hard, but he's been great. And so, yeah, again, this matchup, you can put him back in there, and those are the guys. I don't know how much Ben Simmons, man. Listen, I know he hasn't been great, and he doesn't play a full set of minutes, but $4,600 Ben Simmons, that's intriguing in this kind of a matchup. That's intriguing, Dean.
He hasn't got there once this season. No more. He will combust if he plays 26 minutes. They accidentally gave him 25 one time his last game, but otherwise it's 24, 24, 24, 25. I know we're trying to make it happen, and we want like that cheap triple double. He's averaging almost 6 points, 5.5 rebounds, 5 assists. Like that's just what he's given you. He's given you like single digits of each. Hasn't really got there as far as the stock. So maybe if that gets going, obviously the upside gets elevated. But the Schroeder thing is like that's, I don't want to say sneaky, but like in theory, if I would have told you 10 days ago, Chop, Dennis Schroeder is going to be almost 7K. Like, what happened? Like, how 7K Dennis Schroeder?
Not surprised. You're surprised? Have you watched Schroeder play his whole career?
Yeah. I didn't think he would play as many minutes.
He's a chucker. Well, that's the whole point. They clearly and obviously, no doubt about it, don't care what anybody says, they're clearly tanking for Cooper Flagg. So they're going to give the worst player, and we know he's not a good real life player. And they're giving him all those minutes, and we've seen him in his career. He just chucks, and he's just an awful, selfish, real life player. But it's great for fantasy when he gets those.
Cam Thomas too. You could talk about Cam Thomas as well.
He's
a chucker. He's a volume shooter.
So that's their plan, and that's why
doesn't pass.
And they're going to get there in DFS. Yeah, I would have definitely known that or thought of that because of the selfishness of those players, and that's fine. They're serving their purpose out this year, which is make Brooklyn a bad real life team.
And the matchup is really, really good. And this is kind of what I was talking about as far as star scrubs. And maybe you play Thomas and Schroeder. Those guys can put up 45, 50 each and really pay off that salary and then some. What do you got, Bobby, as far as Chicago and Brooklyn?
Yeah, I'm on the Big Germ tonight. That's his nickname, right, Chop? Schroeder?
Correct.
Big Germ. Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm on him. I'll play him at 6,800 pace up spot. I like
it's
Schroeder.
The menace, by the way.
Cam Thomas, I also think has a good ceiling at 7,200. Fine with both those guys. Maybe this is the Ben Simmons game, Like I said, pace up. You get the cheap double-double. He plays. Maybe he gets it in 24 minutes, team,
Maybe.
Cameron Johnson at 5,500. I think he's fine. My favorite bull is Josh Giddey currently, 6,900, but we can do that. Vucevic, I think this is a revenge game for Vucevic. Dean's a big, like I said, always on the revenge. Brooklyn? I think he played for Brooklyn a little bit prior to after Orlando shipped him out. Wasn't he on Brooklyn for a little bit?
Was he on Brooklyn that I just forgot that I blocked it out? The old Men in Black like minor racer? I got to Chop. Do you know this before I Google? I don't remember him on Brooklyn.
I cannot confirm that he was on Brooklyn.
The chat's telling us no. Early implications are no, Bobby. Just for the record. But I will Google just in case.
Google.
I don't think so.
He was.
Yeah.
Who am I mixing up? Why did I think he's on Brooklyn?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Giddey, Vucevic, those guys are fine. If Levine had been out, then I would have been interested in like Kobe White, Giddey even more. But he's in, so yeah. I don't know. I don't have much interest in Levine.
Yeah, obviously it would have been a whole shambles thing for if we had those guys being out, but everybody being in as of right now, nobody really stands out to me on Chicago. You still can play some players, but I think the two best players in this game are Schroeder and Thomas, and we're seeing ownership kind of in the teens. Is Ben Simmons really going to get some ownership, like a decent amount? Am I reading this right? Let me give it a refresh because I have it on the schedule as far as the lineups, and they have ownership there as well. Let's see. Let me see if that has changed because we did get a 14%. That is very surprising to me. We have him 14% on DK. Maybe I'm missing something. And you're not going to believe it. We're projecting 24 minutes for him because I think it's a pretty good projection. Okay. Mitchell saying maybe you were thinking Brook Lopez, which that could have been Brook Lopez.
Yeah, I was. Maybe I was thinking Brook Lopez. I know the other night versus Orlando, Vooch had the revenge, but yeah, maybe I was thinking Brook Lopez.
He played for Sparta FC in Greece for one season. I was not aware of that. I do not follow the Greece league, but that's dynamite stuff. I don't know when that happened. Maybe the year before he got to Philly. Not sure. Okay. Last game. We were talking about this being a sprint slate. Last game on the DK slate, Indiana and New Orleans. Of course, there's some shuffling up here. One of the more chalkier pieces on the slate is going to be Jose Alvarado because, New Orleans is without Trey Murphy. We haven't seen him all season long. Jordan Hawkins, I think, is still questionable, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure that is the case. Obviously, DeJounte Murray is out for a while, and CJ McCollum is out for a while, and Herb Jones is out for a while, like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It's going to be rough sledding here for New Orleans. So Alvarado is going to be running the point here, probably played about 30 minutes or so. Good distributor, good defensive player, annoying defensive player. If you're up against them, I'm sure he's going to like annoy the heck out of Halliburton. But yeah, he's going to be one of the more popular plays. I don't think the price is fully adjusted on him. We still have a Tice starting. I think it's Tice. I got to refresh the NBA injury reports. I don't think that one matters so much. But let me just throw up the chop. Pacers and the Pelicans. Oh, the other one is Miles Turner. Miles Turner's questionable. Didn't play last game. We saw Isaiah Jackson draw that start. He played fine and then fouled out. And then Obi Toppin played fine. If they have those guys, they can just – and even McConnell, I think somebody mentioned last game, he finally got some burn. And he did all right.
Nimhart was banged up last game, wasn't he?
Yeah, and was it Mathurin who put up like 30 points in the bucket, if I'm not mistaken? Halliburton was looks like Halliburton's back. Whatever he had as far as the early season. He got 12 assists. There was over 20 potentials in that game too. So maybe it's just sort of a fluky start. What do you got?
This is the last game on the slate, and you got those two Turner and Nimhart still questionable. You got to watch out for those. That'll open up some stuff. New Orleans, obviously, you mentioned it. Murray been out for a while, going to be out for a while. Herb Jones being out, that's a sneaky one for this game. Not just for New Orleans, but for the other side, actually, because I think it kind of leads me to feeling better about Pascal Siakam in this game. Herb Jones, a really good individual defender. Messi and Tice being questionable, that could open some stuff up if they're both out. But so Siakam is probably my favorite pacer in this game because no Herb Jones. They just don't have a guy that can match up with him. Alvarado's a great defender. Alvarado's not guarding Pascal Siakam, like you said. He's more of a gnat,
on-ball guy. Yeah, that's the way. Yeah.
So
he's annoying. He's got to be annoying to play against.
Yeah, he's his nickname might just become the fruit fly, like these fruit flies flying around my screen right now. Like
I don't know what his nickname is. Let's see if that might be it. Google gives us something.
But yeah, so Siakam on that side is my favorite one. You could
Grand Theft Alvarado. That's what it is. We know. I forgot that. Yeah, he's Grand Theft Alvarado. That's pretty good. Yeah, it's not mine.
Never heard that one. What does it mean? Where does it come from?
You're joking?
No.
There's one of the most popular video games. Your kids probably play the game. Maybe they shouldn't. I don't know. Who am I to say? I'm not a parent. Remember Grand Theft Auto? And like he says, he's a good Steve.
I don't play games.
Stop it. You've heard of There's no way you haven't heard of Grand Theft Auto. Like, I know you're just doing a bit now.
I don't play.
There's no chance.
I don't play video games. I mean, I got enough on my plate with all these pay cuts at RG, man. I'm sitting here doing 5 sports at once, Dean. I got enough on my plate. I can't be playing no video games.
Well, they haven't released a new Grand Theft Auto in like 7 years. Like everybody's waiting for the new one.
I've been at RG for about 12 years now.
Okay, but you've never played that. Bobby, jump in here. Bobby, you've heard of Grand Theft Auto, yes?
Heard of Grand Theft Auto for sure. I grew up with it. It was a good game. I don't know. I wasn't a big video game guy though. Sit in front of you know what I mean?
They're talking about Gran Turismo now. Can we set up a poll, Steve? Have you heard of Grand Theft Auto? No, that's Gran Torino. That's
Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood, good movie, man.
That is a good movie. But it's a movie, and there's a video game called Gran Turismo, which also they turned into a movie, which I can't say was a good movie or not. I have not seen it. But there you go. We have a poll set up. Do you believe Chop hasn't heard of Grand Theft Auto? There you go. We've completely derailed the show, unfortunately, but the people need to know. Bobby, do you believe Chop that he's never heard of Grand Theft Auto, the video game?
No, he's heard of it, I would imagine. He's just pulling your leg, Dean, pulling your leg.
Also, the chat agrees. Early results, 89% is saying Chop is a big liar. That is our early results. Producer Steve says his mom has heard of Grand Theft Auto, and she's like 60. So, hey, accidentally you've heard. Have you heard of like Red Dead Redemption?
What?
Oh, stop it! Now stop, Chop. Go back to the game.
I can promise you, I've never heard.
Definitely heard. You definitely heard of Red Dead.
Red Dead. What? Red Dead Redemption?
You're killing me. You're killing me,
I've
Chop.
never heard of that, Dean.
It's like the greatest throwing game of all time.
Besides Say it again.
100 years ago. No, I'm not.
Red Dead Redemption. My buddy Clint back in
It is
the day.
spectacular.
My buddy Clint used to have a saying when he's seen a redheaded guy, a ginger like Kevin Herter, he'd go,
where's this gonna go?
Red on the head like a dick on a dog. So that's what that makes me think of. But
I knew that was not gonna end well.
it ends fine. What you gonna do? Come on, you're all right. So is Jordan Hawkins still questionable?
Yes.
Is he in
the
or
two
out?
bigs are questionable.
We don't know.
Well, he's questionable. That's what questionable. Oh wait, yeah, you know what? He's out. My bad. He's officially he's questionable. I was reading Herb. Herb is out.
Man, they're missing a lot of guys. They're missing a lot of guys. CJ, and then Murray, Jones, Messi, Tice. Yeah, man. Alvarado's going to pop. I'm going to have a lot of Alvarado just because he's going to play a lot of minutes in this kind of a pace. He'll stumble into. Man, he might stumble into 5 steals tonight. Just
because
Zion.
Grand Theft Alvarado. It's a tie-in. He's a steal.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I've never heard of it, but that's fine. I'll let you have it. Zion's going to be good because Zion is who he is. If Jordan Hawkins plays and he's, there's no problems there.
He's got to score.
That's a good player, man. That's a good player for this price tag. He's already Jordan Hawkins is already averaging. This surprised me when I looked at this today because I was looking at this game. He's over 30 minutes a game, and he takes over 12 shots a game. And that's already with those other guys who have played games this year with those guys out. Yeah, in this kind of a matchup, Jordan Hawkins would be great if he plays. So he's
got to score, Chop. If he's not scoring, he's not getting there.
That's fine.
He's back tonight.
You're playing tournaments, man. You want that goes with any jump shooter in the league. Like guys who that's what you want in tournaments. Cash game, no, obviously not. In tournaments, give me jump shooters, man, because the guys get hot. The ones who get hot win you tournaments.
So Messi, Tice, Hawkins, all in. Just broke right now.
Yeah, the Tice and Messi don't move the needle. Those are defensive guys anyway. So they're not going to take away from Hawkins or Zion. So I'm cool with still running those guys pretty good. And Alvarado is who he is. There's nobody that's going to replace what he does. So Alvarado is going to pop in the optimals, and he should. And I'll be overweight on Alvarado.
We got crunch time in the bullpen. They're coming in here shortly. I don't want to keep them waiting too long. Bobby, give me what you got as far as Pacers and Pels.
Yeah, Jose Alvarado, I think, is a super strong play. Zion and Brandon, what'd you say?
Lock?
I think for what I'm playing, I'm probably locking him. Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram, I think, are good as well. And then Chop made a really good point about Pascal. No Herb Jones there. Pascal would easily be my favorite Pacer. That's kind of where I'm at. From this
he gets even better if Turner's out, I would say. Turner currently questionable.
Yeah.
And kind of keep an eye on Jackson. Yeah, I just think that Jackson's probably not good enough or not as good as the other cheap stuff out there. We also got a price bump from him because he was super cheap last game in the absence of Turner. He did foul out, but he's a good fantasy point minute player. Just kind of keep an eye on that stuff. But I don't think that really moves the needle enough. We do have crunch time coming in here. I did want to get the people were clamoring. They were saying, Chop, they're giving you your praise. You did tell us Ja was the guy last night. You set the bar, and he did it like 28 minutes or something goofy like that because it was like a full-on blowout. He didn't even play a ton of run. But yeah, who is Ja Morant tonight? Who's the guy that's breaking the slate, Chop?
Oh, man. Does Bobby have a guy? I got 2 guys, so I don't want to take Bobby's guy.
Go ahead, Bobby.
Let Bobby go.
I have one, yeah. I'm going to go Sabonis.
Ooh, nice.
I like that Hawks-Kings game a good bit, so Sabonis.
Is that your guy, Chop?
No, but I wanted to give me. I got 2 guys. It's tough, man. It's tough to decide between these, but I'm gonna go with the guy who I think way lesser owned. Okay, guy way lesser owned, and it's kind of befitting that his price tag $6,900 tonight. That's Josh Giddey. I'm going Josh Giddey.
All right, so Josh Giddey, despite the fact that anyone who's going to play him probably turned off a little bit by the fact that everybody's in there for Chicago. Levine is the important one, but he still can get there. There is a path. Let's go ahead and bring crunch time on. That was Bobby. That was Chop. I was Dean. We're not going anywhere. We're going to say hello to TJ, Taylor, and Roth. Let's do it. All right. Before we get into it, obviously big slates, and you guys are going to cover the FanDuel stuff and just touch on that. Focusing on the TK slate. We didn't touch on the last couple games. Roth, do we believe Chop? Is Chop a confirmed liar? Has he heard of Grand Theft Auto? Come on, he's got kids.
Yeah, no, he's heard of that, but I don't know why you think he's heard of Dead Red Redemption. There's no way he's heard of that game.
Yeah, I didn't get the Red Dead Redemption one either. Like, there's no way he's heard of that.
Okay, well, maybe I got out of handle. I got caught up in the moment of the conversation, but he's certainly heard of Grand Theft Auto. Like,
Yeah,
that's not
but
possible.
he does know Red on the Head, like a dog on a dig. Was that it? What was it?
No, it wasn't. That wasn't
Don't
exactly
ask him to repeat it.
No, don't ask him.
It's you see a ginger walking by, you go. Clint used to go.
Roth, what
Look
is
at that. Red on the head like a dick on a dog.
I don't.
Do we have to rehash this?
I don't even understand it. I don't.
Have you ever seen a dog's red rocket come out, Rob? A dog's red rocket come out?
Okay, you know what? I did.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have. I shouldn't. I shouldn't have gone deeper. You're right. Jesus.
And with that, you got to put Kevin Herter into your lineup now. That's producer Steve. No, it's contagious for having too much fun here, I suppose. But all right. Anything else before we step aside to make way for crunch time? These boys going to knock out the rest as we segue. Do hit that like button, do subscribe, do turn on those notifications. Chop, you got anything else before we get out of here? Bobby?
Nah, we're good.
That's it. Good luck tonight, guys.
There you go. Good luck to everybody watching. And Roth, good luck following that.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, good stuff as always, guys. Welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen. You know the deal. It's crunch time. It's two of the sharpest minds in the biz. We're going to take you up to lock. We're going to take you through lock. We're going to talk about FanDuel, talk about DK, answer some questions, maybe give some sports betting advice as well. And we got two of my favorite people in the whole wide world. Also, two of the dudes with the best hair at RotoGrinders. We got Taylor Smith in the house. What up, Taylor?
Not much. Glad to know I have good hair. I appreciate that. Always nice to get a compliment, especially on a Friday. So, yeah, looking forward to getting into this. Should be a fun slate, hopefully.
Okay, for what it's worth, both of your hair actually looks like shit right now. Neither of you. You look like you both rolled out of bed, but I know it's there and it's good. We got TJ Zwarych in the house as well. What up, TJ?
Isn't it funny how anxiety works where you compliment my hair and I immediately was like, oh no, it looks like shit right now. It looks like crap right now. I got to fix this. This looks bad. And then as soon as you made fun of my hair, it just made me laugh. Like it didn't actually make me anxious. It just made me laugh. But the compliment, that one gets you. That one gets you, and it just raises the anxiety levels. But no, this is a fun little slate. We got a ton of value. We got some good spend ups, so it's a fun one today.
Okay, well, not to give you more anxiety, but I fully expect you're going to give us some winners today. So no pressure, but I think we can knock that out. Of course, there is no weather. We're talking about some indoor games. I did, however, just drop a fresh NFL forecast. For those who are interested, check out my Twitter at KevinRothWx, or just go to the RotoGrinders NFL weather page. That works as well. Fresh NFL weather forecast for the weekend, but we're here to talk some hoops. And on Friday, or no, when was it? The last time I was here? Dang, it's been a while because of Halloween and such. I absolutely crushed. Big winner. I made, I don't know, like 7-8x my initial investment. So I was quite pleased with that. And I want to run it back. TJ, how are we going to get that done?
We're going to get it done by most likely playing players on a team that are dealing with a lot of injuries, because we got a lot of that today. Small little sprint slate on, I mean, it's not small, it's still 7 games, but a sprint slate on DraftKings where all the games happen between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. And then we got the later ones included on FanDuel. So when we go position by position there, we'll dive into those a little bit more. But up top, we're looking at a lot of Anthony Davis as the kind of top overall spend up play tonight. We're looking at playing a lot of Pelicans as they deal with injuries in the same game. Indiana might have a ton of value open up. We're still waiting on Miles Turner there. The Lakers are in a great spot. Brooklyn and Chicago are in nice spots. Sacramento and Atlanta is probably going to be a super high scoring game. And then Orlando is now without Paolo Banchero. Boston is without Horford and Porzingis. So that opens up a lot of big man value. There's just value everywhere.
That is a lot of value. Okay, well, let's just dive right into it. We like to start with FanDuel. And Taylor, I will let you go first. Work your way down the list, starting at point guard. What do we like?
Yeah, so like he said, the Pelicans are without some guys. They're without McCollum. They're without Herb Jones. So they're quite thin. Jose Alvarado is kind of a lock on both sides probably, but FanDuel is 4-4. I think he played 34 minutes in the last game in this situation. Pretty good per minute guy. Good matchup against Indiana, the whole thing. So he's a very easy play. Ditto for Jalen Suggs. He's 6'8" on FanDuel, so he's not quite as cheap, but still getting a lot of him. No Banchero for a while. I don't love the spot for the Magic against Cleveland. The Cavaliers are good. They've been good defensively for a while, but Suggs is going to see a huge usage boost. The minutes should be there. Still a good value at 6'8" on FanDuel. That's like the really obvious point guard pairing. There's still a ton of other ones you can play. Like the higher end guys could go a little overlooked. Trae Young and De'Aaron Fox on the other side of each other in that Atlanta-Sacramento game. Cade Cunningham against the Knicks. He's been phenomenal all season. Jalen Brunson, not so much, but still a little underpriced relative to what he can do on the other side of that game. I think Josh Giddey is a little interesting in tournaments. Point guard, shooting guard. Stuff's the stat sheet. He's come around a little bit in the last couple games. Ditto for Kobe White. Don't mind that. And the cheap guy who might slip through the cracks a little could be Peyton Pritchard, but it's hard to get away from Alvarado. He's a way better value and he's cheaper. So don't love Pritchard, but if you're looking for someone a little lower owned, I think he's okay.
Okay. TJ, you got a few names you want to add to that list? It was a pretty comprehensive list, I feel like.
Yeah, Jose Alvarado is a guy today that I think you just press the lock button on both FanDuel and DraftKings, regardless of how many lineups you're playing. Whether it's 1 or 150, I would personally be playing him in all of them. From a cash standpoint, I think Suggs is probably the second guy you're putting in there, but in tournaments, I love Giddey and Garland as pivots. I prefer Garland quite a bit more than Giddey, but both are fine. Glad that Taylor mentioned Cade Cunningham. He's like my favorite tournament play on the slate. He should be about $1,000 more for how he's been playing this year. Schroeder is in a great matchup. Chicago's been playing at like a stupidly fast pace this year, so I like him too. And then Trae Young at 10K. We talk about all this great value we have. Same with LaMelo Ball, even though it's a super difficult matchup at 9-2. Nobody's playing Trae Young or LaMelo Ball, and we have the value to easily play them. So I think both of them are really great spots for tournaments.
Okay. How about shooting guard?
Suggs is available to play here. So is Giddey. Both of them are still strong options. I like Jaylen Brown at 8,500. Kobe White at 65 is totally fine, as is his teammate Zach LaVine. Not a super strong position here today. Like when we were talking about Suggs and Giddey potentially viable in cash and strong tournament plays, I'd rather play them at shooting guard than point guard. Anybody who is point guard and shooting guard eligible, I would rather play at shooting guard because there's so many good shooting guards and nowhere near as many point guards. Jordan Hawkins at 5.1K. He's probably my favorite of the entire bunch. I'd play him in cash, single entry, anything. I am playing him in single entry in the one lineup I'm playing tonight on DraftKings. Usually play more, but just one lineup on DraftKings for me today because it's my mom's birthday and I'm headed to her party. I don't have to worry about different things on there. So
Sure.
Just the one lineup, but I got Hawkins in it, and he's definitely going to be my favorite at the position today.
Okay. TJ, you got a few names you want to add there at shooting guard?
Taylor.
Kevin Herter. Yeah, other Taylor.
Does your middle name start with a J? We
Thanks.
can make it happen.
It does not. I have two, but neither starts with a J, sadly.
Dang.
Okay. We'll try it again. Taylor, any thoughts that you want to add there, shooting guard?
Yeah. Kevin Herter, I mentioned a few seconds ago in that Atlanta-Sacramento game. Only 800 minutes for him. Atlanta allows a ton of three-pointers. That game should be pretty high scoring. He's guard forward eligible. I like that quite a bit. I mentioned Kobe White at point guard. Austin Reeves looks good. The Lakers in general look pretty good against that Toronto team who can't defend. Mikal Bridges is someone I don't mind as kind of a lower owned differentiator. There was a lot about his shooting form, a lot made of his shooting form and stuff, but he's been fine so far through 4 games. I think he's okay enough. Would have preferred no Towns, but I still think he's okay. Hawkins, Jaylen Brown, Giddey, Suggs. I think Nembhard is a decent kind of differentiator value if he plays, but certainly not a priority. And that probably does it for shooting guard.
Okay, let's go to the forward position. Small forward to be specific. Taylor, what do you like there?
So there's a lot here from a value standpoint. We just got Wendell Carter scratched, and Goga Batadze is out. So I wonder if this will put Jonathan Isaac back in our lives.
He was already in our lives, and I wanted to fully fade him today.
Yeah.
And like Isaac's projecting for like 20+% ownership on DraftKings, and I wasn't going to play him. But
yeah,
I think it's just Mo Wagner season.
Mm-hmm. I was already into Wagner as a pure Isaac pivot, but would have been better if Isaac was starting. I assume one of them will start now. We haven't gotten that yet, but here it is. Mo Wagner is starting. Let's see. Jonathan Isaac is not. Okay. So I think Isaac is still a very shaky play. I think the minutes will be kind of what we were expecting them all along, which is 20-ish. He's like made of glass, so I don't think they're going to really extend him. It's a really bad matchup, like I said, again, but I think Mo Wagner was already a pretty good play, and that's going to be definitely in play. But I guess we can get there when we get there. He's not small forward or anything, but Jonathan Isaac is. I guess he's okay in cash, but I don't love that in tournaments, especially if he's chalky. A few small forward only plays, RJ Barrett with all the usage with the Raptors injuries, and then 2 Hawks, Roddy and Risa Shea. Should both be starting. Both have pretty cemented roles with Hunter and Daniels out for them and Bogdanovic. So I have no qualms with either of them as a cheapie. Rui, Austin Reeves, LeBron, 3 Lakers you can play here. You can play Bridges here. I think Josh Hart is a really good value on both sides still. Small forward, power forward eligible. On FanDuel, we have the OKC Portland game, so Jalen Williams is perfectly fine if you want to pay a little bit more. And then Jalen Johnson go a little overlooked, but he's playing 40-ish minutes a night with the Hawks injuries, and I don't think people are really going to pay up for him, especially on FanDuel. So I think he's a really strong tournament play on FanDuel.
Okay, TJ, your thoughts on small forward?
That's kind of what I'm trying to figure out right now. What, if I'm being honest, is what I want to do with this small forward position, because there is so much value with David Roddy, Zach Risa-Shea, Jonathan Isaac, RJ Barrett at 7,900. I do still think is probably the top play here, but there are a lot of options to spend up and just be different and find value at the other positions. Jason Tatum is in a great spot. He's projecting for 2.3% ownership on FanDuel right now. Edwards, LeBron, Jalen Johnson, Jaylen Brown, DeMar DeRozan, even Jalen Williams, like all of these guys looking like they're in pretty decent spots. Brandon Ingram in the mid tier. So I think the play is, in cash, you play RJ Barrett, or if you want to double pay down to 2 of Roddy, Risa-Shea, Isaac, I think that's fine. But I think in tournaments, the play here is to just spend up to the upper tier and mid range, even if you don't want to get all the way up to Jason Tatum. Brandon Ingram's projecting for single-digit ownership today. And like Jaylen Brown in the teens, Jalen Johnson in the teens, Anthony Edwards 11. Not very high ownership projections for these guys. So I think that's kind of the way to pivot in tournaments.
Okay, take me to power forward, TJ.
Zion Williamson and Anthony Davis. Done. That I think is pretty close to it from I think you want to play both of these guys in a cash game setting today. Pascal Siakam looks really good in tournaments, and he'll look even better, like really, really good if Miles Turner gets ruled out. And then Franz Wagner at 7,400 with the Magic, and like Taylor said, a terrible matchup, but all of these guys are going to have to probably play pretty significant minutes. If Jonathan Mogbo starts, I think at 4,200, he's a very interesting tournament value on FanDuel. But like those 5 guys would probably be my entire pool. Throw Tatum in there too. That's and Sabonis. Like that's 8 guys would be my entire pool at power forward, no matter how many lineups I played.
Okay, TJ, is this kind of the spend up spot here? I mean, we've had salary savers everywhere, but do we get to spend some money? Get a little AD in there?
You did it again.
What the shit? What is happening? Hey, Taylor. Okay.
You know what's funny?
What?
Is my name is Taylor.
Yeah.
No. Okay, well,
Like that
doesn't
Taylor
actually help
James
at
is
all.
what TJ stands for.
Now I just need to start calling you both Taylor, and then I'll be correct. Taylor,
Exactly.
what do you think? Is this a spend up spot? But I'm trying to build a lineup as I do this, and that's distracting me. So I'm going to put that aside and focus on who I'm talking to. Taylor, what are we doing at power forward?
It probably is a pay up spot. The only thing that throws a wrench into that is the Mo Wagner thing. Now that we have him at 4-1 starting with no Carter and no Tatse and no Bankero. But you can at center is not quite as awesome. Like you can play AD at center and Sabonis, but I think Wagner with some combination of Zion and Anthony Davis looks great. Siakam, I like quite a bit on the other side of that Pelicans game. I don't think we have Miles Turner news, but if Miles Turner's out again, then Siakam's going to look a little bit better. Still like it either way, though. Hart, I mentioned, same guys you can play at small forward. Jalen Williams, Jalen Johnson, another high-end guy who's going to go overlooked. And then Sabonis on FanDuel, you can also play at power forward.
Okay, very good. That brings us to the center position. Taylor, what are you doing there?
So Luke Cornett is starting for Boston as we expected. He's 3.9 on FanDuel, so a little bit cheaper than Mo Wagner.
Can you tell me a little bit about his game? Like, is he going to do things when he's out there? Because I think there are minute concerns, right?
Yeah, I think last I saw we had him at like 24, which is more than enough for him to pop as a great value, just because he's so cheap and he is a good per minute guy historically. He's more of a rebounder. I think he might be able to shoot a little bit, but he's not going to get a ton of usage for this team. It's going to be
like we could pull a double-double, a double-double.
Yeah, I think it's,
10,
with a block or two, something like that. I think for the dollar, he looks awesome.
Okay.
I'm waiting for projections. I haven't checked to see if they've updated to see how he compares to Wagner, but I think both are great values. If you're paying up, though, there's AD. Obviously, there's Sabonis. On FanDuel, we could play Ayton. I think that's good in tournaments. Jakob Poeltl feasted the other night. He's played 35 minutes in regulation in 2 straight games. Tons of guys missing from the Raptors lineup. He's 6'9", so decent mid-range play. And then Miles Turner, if we get him at 6'5", the Hornets, the Pelicans have been blocked more than any team in the league so far this season. That's kind of what Miles Turner does. They also allow quite a few threes. That's also what Miles Turner does. So if he's in, I think Turner's pretty interesting in tournaments as well.
Okay, good stuff. TJ, you want to add any other names there at the center spot?
I would probably hit the lock button on Cornett on FanDuel, even though that you can only play one center. I would do it on DraftKings, definitely, where you could play 2. But Poeltl is in a great spot as well. I forgot to mention Jarrett Allen at the power forward position. He's power forward center, totally viable at both of those spots.
Okay, so Cornett, your favorite value on the slate here over guys like Mo Wagner? You prefer Cornett over him?
Wagner is up there very close now. But Wagner, Alvarado, Cornett are basically 3 borderline lock button plays for me.
Okay, fair enough. Guys, I want to kick it over to DK, but before we do that, you got to know that DFS is all about the value, baby. This is the busiest time in the sports calendar. It means it's a perfect time to sign up for RotoGrinders Combo. For a limited time, get your first month of combo access for $79.99, which is just $5 more than NBA premium. So what are you doing? If you're just signing up for NBA, what are you thinking? Sign up for combo, best deal in the industry. Do not pass up that excellent value that we've got. In the meantime, let's kick it over to DK, where I have been building more and more lineups because it's fun. Is this the first slate, TJ, where we've just had widespread injury news and all kinds of value?
Not the first, but it definitely feels like the most for only something like a 7-game slate. It's a lot.
It's fun. These are my favorite kind of slates. So walk me through what we're doing over at DK. Start me off with a little point guard talk.
All right. On DraftKings, it's a lot of the similar names that we talked to on FanDuel, but the biggest discrepancy is Jalen Suggs, who's 5,800 on FanDuel, on DraftKings versus 6,800 on FanDuel. Much stronger play. He's picking up a ton of ownership, but he's basically like you're playing 2 point guards in cash, and they're Jalen Suggs and Jose Alvarado. Alvarado's 4,600, a little bit more than he is on FanDuel, but he's still a borderline lock button play for me here. Those two are and Cade Cunningham in tournaments and Tyrese Halliburton would probably be pretty darn close to the only people I'd want to play at the point guard position on DraftKings today. When you throw in, we can have utilities and other guys playing there. Trae Young, LaMelo Ball, De'Aaron Fox, all in great spots. But I think it's a slate on DraftKings where point guards and centers are the only two positions you want to play at a utility.
Interesting. All right, TJ, what do you? Oh my God! What is happening to me, Taylor? What are you doing at point guard?
Most of the same stuff. I mean, the values are obvious with Suggs and Alvarado. The pay-ups look great as well. Like Garland, kind of a mid-range guy. I don't mind. Halliburton, I like that call quite a bit. Brunson, I like, even though Karl Anthony Towns is in. One value I think could go a little overlooked that I think is interesting in tournaments is Trey Mann. The matchup against Boston's brutal, but still no Brandon Miller. There's usage for him off the bench. He's 5K flat, and it doesn't look like he's going to be very popular. So in a tournament, I think Mann is okay. And then Dennis Schroeder, like he's really priced up, but he's kind of dominating for the Nets lately. And that game against Chicago looks good. Chicago runs at a fast pace. They're not a great defensive team. It's sticker shock with Schroeder, but I think another guy I'd have on my radar in tournaments.
Okay. Taylor, your thoughts at shooting guard, please.
A lot of the same names. I think Austin Reeves looks great. Schroeder again. Cam Thomas in that same game. A little quiet the other night, but he's a scoring machine. The usage will always be there, and the minutes have been there for him. Kevin Huerter and Mikal Bridges, two guys I mentioned on FanDuel, also on my radar on DK. Zach LaVine in a tournament I think is okay. Anthony Black as an unowned punt, starting for Orlando. Not a great per minute guy, at least last season, but he's cheap, and he's one of the cheap guys no one's going to play. And then probably the only other guy worth mention is Jordan Hawkins, like TJ said on FanDuel, a little scoring dependent, but Pelicans have no wings left beyond, or no guards left beyond Alvarado essentially in Hawkins. So I think he's a great play.
Okay, good stuff. TJ, your thoughts at shooting guard, please.
Not a very strong position, but still a couple decent options. I don't mind paying up for Jaylen Brown or Brandon Ingram. My favorite range is probably the 6 to 7K with Cam Thomas and Dennis Schroeder that Taylor was talking about. I think White and LaVine in that same game are fully viable. Jordan Hawkins at 5'2", Trey Mann at 5K, and that's about it for me at shooting guard.
Okay, then we get to go to small forward. TJ, what do we like?
I like spending up to Jason Tatum at only 5% projected ownership today. RJ Barrett in the mid-tier 7,200 looks really, really good as well. A couple of the same guys we mentioned at shooting guard, Brown and Ingram, LaVine, Cam Thomas, all playable at the small forward position as well, but there's tons of value. Zach Risachet, 4,500. David Roddy at 4,200. Sam Hauser at 35 is even projecting for a strong value today, but I don't really think you need to go there. But you can. You absolutely can. If Boston goes small, say pulls Cornet out of there, and it'll be Pritchard or Hauser as the guy they're going with. So lots of potential value options down low, sub 5K. But I think of all of them, my favorite is probably RJ Barrett. I didn't even mention Franz Wagner, who I really like too.
Yeah. All right. Taylor, you want to throw in a few more names or kind of all the same people here?
It's a lot of the same people. I was going to bring up Franz if TJ hadn't. In a better matchup, he might be chalky without Banchero and all these other guys, Wendell Carter. But they're playing Cleveland. He's over 7K, small forward only. There's blowout risk, obviously, but I still think if you can stomach that, he looks good in the tournament as well. Otherwise, it's the same. Barrett's probably the best play overall. Rui and LeBron, I mentioned on FanDuel, Josh Hart as well, Mikal Bridges as well, and then Roddy Risachet. The same values stand out over here too.
Fair enough. How about power forward?
Taylor, what do you like better, Schroeder and Siakam or Hawkins and Zion?
I think I like the Schroeder and Siakam one a little bit more, but
that's what I'll go with for now. That's what I'll go with for now. I really want to have access to that Indiana front court for if Miles Turner's out, whether that's Jackson, Toppin, or Siakam. I don't really care. I just kind of want to get to one of them, which brings us to power forward. Take it away.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
Taylor.
So I think Siakam is good either way. Like even if Turner plays, Siakam's not going to be popular at all. But we have the Lakers over here, Rui and LeBron once again, Josh Hart once again, Zion as a spend up looks terrific. Jalen Johnson, I mentioned on FanDuel, like he was pretty chalky the other night. It doesn't really seem like he's going to be super popular today, but it's the same spot. It's a great game environment against Sacramento. Tatum, I like that call as a spend. Mobo, if he starts again for Toronto, still pretty deep the role. And Jonathan Isaac, it's the same thing over here. I should mention Mo Wagner, obviously. Now, I think we have him at 28 minutes. So he's clearly one of the better values on the slate and someone that I think you can play in all formats with that projection.
Yeah. Okay. TJ?
I just going back to the Grand Theft Auto Red Dead Redemption conversation that began the show. I just got a message in a group chat that said, Ice Spice and Snoop Dogg are currently performing inside Fortnite. And I think that is a sentence that would just completely break Chop's brain.
Chop maybe knows who Snoop Dogg is, but Fortnite.
He does for
Ice
sure.
Spice,
He does for sure. He knows that one for sure.
No, not a chance. Chop, if you're watching, let us know what you think of Ice Spice and Fortnite. In the meantime, TJ, take me to power forward.
Yeah, a lot of the same guys. This is a really strong position today. I like Tatum and Zion up top, but Jalen Johnson looks good too. Siakam is already looking great, but will be a big, big priority for me if Miles Turner is out. Oh, I wish I was playing more lineups today because there's just so much that I like, but it's okay. Yeah. It's all right. I'm just going to go enjoy a birthday party. Mo Wagner at 3,900 is a must play. He would be in 100% of the lineups I would be playing today, even if I was running 150. I'm only playing one, but Mo Wagner is in it.
Yeah. We did get this question from Maryi Don Yeezy, and it's kind of what I asked earlier, TJ. Who do you think stays in the game longer and gets more minutes, Mo or Kornet? And I think minutes-wise, the answer is Mo now, at least according to projections.
Yeah, I think Mo for sure. Nembhard just got ruled out for Indiana, and Mathurin and TJ McConnell played pretty good games in his place. Mathurin went crazy, but now TJ McConnell is opening up as a big value. That probably also means we'll get the Miles Turner news any minute because Nembhard is on his same team. But even more value opening up with TJ McConnell and Benedict Mathurin both looking like good value plays now.
I love playing McConnell, so now I need to make another lineup because it's one of those nights where to cover all of the things you like.
And he's only point guard eligible too, so it's like three of the very best values on the slate are McConnell, Suggs, and Alvarado. And for what it's worth, I think McConnell still probably falls below Suggs and McConnell. Sorry, Suggs and Alvarado. Yeah. But like those are all three of them now, and you want to play two centers. It's so difficult.
Right. It tells me that Brunson's getting the boot out of my lineup. He was kind of my wild card, but now there's just too much value to play a guy who isn't. It feels like one of those nights where every person you play needs to be a reason for it, like a value reason for it.
Dean brings up a good question in chat, and it's, have you considered capping Mo Wagner and Jonathan Isaac to just one per lineup? I would say no, you don't need to. I'm lower on Isaac anyways, but the reason I don't think you need to is because Isaac's not going to play 30 minutes. Like, we know that. He's coming back from injury. He never does. This is the most injured guy in the NBA. And so he's not going to play a big cap anyways. He gets there by which he could do this for sure. Getting 10 rebounds, stealing 3 balls, blocking 4 shots in the 24 minutes he's out there. So I don't think you need to cap it. I'm low on Isaac because of how much value we have. I don't think he's got a huge ceiling. But I don't think you need to worry about the two of them together, because I think they can play together, and I don't think Isaac's going to play more than 24 minutes anyways.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're at power forward, TJ, if I'm not mistaken.
Center we are at. So Anthony Davis, 10-6 spend up, looks great. Luke Kornet at 3,400 is the best one. Still one of the best values. I prefer Kornet over Isaac straight up. I drastically prefer Mo Wagner over both of them. That's like I would be keeping a pretty tight pool because of how great the value plays we have are. But I do also like Sabonis up top. I like Jared Allen at 7,100. And then any of the guys that you could play at power forward or center, I wouldn't play them at center. I would strictly play them at like the forward utility position. I do like Allen. I do like Sabonis. And there was one more I want. Oh, and Pirtle. But I would be keeping a very tight pool at center.
Boy, I mean, it's gotten to the point where I have too much value and I'm trying to figure out.
That's the problem is like I love all the
Yeah.
value, but the most expensive player is 10-6. And there's only one player on the slate over 10K. Two, sorry. Young and Davis are the only ones above 10K.
Yeah, I find myself in a much harder spot than I should be for how much value there is. Taylor, what are you doing at the center spot?
Yeah, Pirtle looks great. I mentioned him on FanDuel. Cornette and Wagner look awesome as well if you want to go down. Miles Turner
expected to play. Good.
So I
didn't want more value.
No, we didn't. And I liked Miles Turner anyway. So assuming he's okay to play full minutes, which he should be, I think he only missed one game. I think he's pretty good in tournaments. Zion, I don't mind Evan Mobley and as well as Jared Allen in the same game, same lineup, obviously. And then Vooch, kind of as a little flyer, but it's hard to get away from the main stuff at center, just kind of like every other position now.
Yeah,
I have 11,500 for my last two positions.
Yeah, I've got like $10,000 over. Like I'm $10,000 over. Like I need to spend 10 grand somehow, and it is weirdly harder than it should be. Guys, we are roughly 7-8 minutes into lock. We want to make sure we get to some QQs, and also we want to make sure that you have the best projections that you can have. And if you want access to some of the most advanced NBA data in the whole market, get shot quality projections for Lineup HQ. You get 1 month of access for $40 or yearly for $200. If you want to give it a test run, you can do a 3-day pass. That is $19.99. I recommend you sign up for the month for $40, but you do you, friends. Make sure you get the best data out there. In the meantime, I'm pulling up the RG Discord. That's where the cool kids are hanging out. Hit us with a thumbs up for all the free content that you're getting from two sharp people and one person who can't even remember names properly. We have over 500 people watching and only 80 likes. It seems mildly insulting. I'm not going to take it personal, but I might actually take it a little personal. Let's get to the QQs. FanDuel GPP. TJ, your favorite stud or studs?
Anthony Davis.
Yeah, that just seems like the right answer.
And then Zion Williamson is my favorite, probably mid-tier stud. I ended up going no TJ McConnell. That was the way to make it work for me. Was there was just too much value. Choosing two of Suggs, McConnell, Alvarado. I decided to leave out Alvarado. Or the other option would have been leaving out Cornette and then going all three of them. But I decided to leave out McConnell.
Yeah, I think I have to do the same, man. I think
he's the one who's going to get squeezed. Like I don't think people are going to play McConnell off the bench, especially. So plus that game's later.
Like that's why I wanted him. I feel like he feasts when he's in a good spot, and I wanted that. But okay, it's fine. Let's go. More QQs here. We got 6 minutes here until we hit the lock. FanDuel single entry. Man, see, a lot of people are stuck here. And it's something we've talked about a lot, Taylor. Luke Cornette or Mo Wagner. Should I just play both? I'm worried about the matchup for Wagner. Who cares? He's so cheap. Who cares what the matchup is?
I think you do play both. I feel better about Wagner than Cornette personally, for what it's worth. Just because of the minutes. So I think both are great. I would lean toward both, though.
Okay. We got a question from Steve, producer Steve. Taylor, I'm coming to you in the util DK Cash. 4,600 or under. He already has Ricochet and Alvarado in the lineup.
Probably Roddy, if you have the space.
Okay. And I am just now realizing why we were talking about Grand Theft Auto, because I assume it started with Grand Theft Alvarado. Is that?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assumption. All right. Now I get it. Now I get why we ended up there. Question for TJ, your favorite spend up on DK between AD and Trey? I feel like it's AD for you by a bit.
Yes.
Yeah. TJ, right back to you. Favorite DK cash shooting guard under 6K? Is it your boy Hawkins?
Yes. No, Matherin. Matherin.
Okay. All right. Little
Now that
pivot there.
Nemhard is out, it's Matherin.
Yeah. Thoughts on Cam Thomas, Taylor, in FanDuel Cash?
Totally cool with that.
Do you prefer that over Schroeder on DK? He is $400 more. I've got the money for both, so I'm eating this cash. Taylor.
I think I do prefer Thomas to Schroeder if it's one or the other.
Okay, good. That makes
I
sense.
lied. I ended up leaving out Jalen Suggs out of my lineup. And I like how it looks now. It's looking a lot more tournamenty. I got my guy Jarrett Allen in there, who smashed for me at 1% ownership the other day, going back to the well. Who's going to stop him in there? I'm liking how this turned out.
So does that mean that you did end up with McConnell, or no? You just went. Yeah, you did. Yeah. All right. I'm a little jealous.
Little 3-man stack of McConnell, Matherin, and Alvarado for the last game.
And I was wondering if it's okay to play Matherin and McConnell together. You're all right with that?
Yeah, I do think their minutes will directly take away from each other if the game stays close. Only one of them would close, but I don't really care. I think they could both smash in 30 and 26 minutes, and if it gets ugly, both of them could stay in the game.
Okay, good stuff. Where are we at? DK single entry. Taylor, coming to you. Siakam and AD. That sounds like the right answer. Or Zion and Sabonis, which also sounds pretty damn good.
AD side.
Jumping into the YouTube again, make sure you hit us with that thumbs up. I'm scrolling up just a little bit for some questions.
Ooh, Cam Thomas or Franz Wagner?
Wagner. Unless it's a blowout, unless they just get...
I think it's Thomas for me, but I do want to like Wagner, but I think it's Thomas.
Yeah.
The answer is Wagner, right? But I just have a weird
Yeah.
feeling Thomas is going to go crazy today.
Thomas has a way better matchup, and Chicago's running and all that. I think that's the way I'd go.
But Wagner's going to be that dude for the Magic, right? He's going to be the guy.
Yeah, I have the gut feeling that it's going to be, I have the gut feeling that it's going to be Thomas. But with this lineup with Jarrett Allen, it actually makes a lot more sense to go with Wagner because I want that game to stay somewhat close.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do it. I have faith. Do it, TJ.
All right, I'm blaming you if that team doesn't cash, and it would have because of
you lose a tournament because of that call.
Yeah, I want half my entry fee back.
Yeah, you're done.
From you.
I have no idea what your entry fee is. I say done like it's
not big.
$1 entry.
It's not big.
Yeah,
it's
okay.
not big. So it means you got to take one show for me.
Yeah. All right, deal. Mavs to say thank you guys. Have a great weekend. Appreciate you all. We appreciate you, and we still have a minute or two until lock. So let's get a few more questions. Alex says TJ Clingan or Jalen Smith. I need to fill the last spot.
Clingan?
Clingan.
Donovan Clingan?
Neither. Definitely not play either of those guys. We are so flush with value. Don't play either of them.
Yeah. Okay. Michael Anderson says, Taylor, who would you play? Oh, sorry. Would you play LeBron and AD in the same lineup in a DKGPP?
I don't think I would. I don't think it's bad, but I personally would not do that.
Okay. Taylor, SGA or AD raw points?
I would take AD.
Okay. DK Cash, TJ, Donovan Mitchell, Towns, or Hallie?
Hallie.
Let's see. Is it okay to leave $500 on the table?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Especially on a slate like tonight where there's just multiple players that will 10x.
Yeah, we're very, very close to lock. Our guy Butthole Jenkins says Giddy or Suggs, DK Cash. I think the answer is Suggsy there, Taylor.
Yep. Suggs for sure.
Mm-hmm. Donovan Clingan or Jalen Smith, right? Is that what we decided were the two people he was talking about?
Yeah, definitely neither of them.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's you're pretty deep there.
Hey, we did get one final question as we approach lock. It is from J3, and he asks, Quite simply, can TJ talk about dinner briefly? You're going over to your mom's, I assume.
Yeah, my sister's. My sister has a big house, so she's hosting a 65th birthday party for my mom. I actually don't know what the spread is going to be. Find out when we get there. We are bringing. Actually, weirdly enough, I had a Canadian delicacy for lunch, and I'm bringing a Canadian delicacy there as a dessert.
Did you have like what are the poutine? Did you have poutine?
I had a poutine for lunch because I was at Costco, and both of these things are like Costco staples, so that's why.
Yeah.
I got a poutine at Costco. It's $6. It's like a big thing of fries, gravy, and they got the real cheese curds on it. None of that shredded crap. Like the real cheese curds. It's so good. But then I also got something called a Nanaimo bar. I don't know if maybe Steve can bring up a Nanaimo bar on the GIF on and it wouldn't be a GIF, but on a screen share. They're really good. It's like
a candy bar.
No, it's kind of like a oatmeal chocolate like bear like thing on the bottom, nice cream, sugary cream thing in the middle, and then chocolate on top. And
that sounds like a candy bar. To be clear, that sounds like a candy bar.
Oh, like you didn't mean like like a candy bar from a store. You meant yeah. That's
okay. Oh, it's like a fancy. Okay, it's a now I see it. I can picture. Okay, it's a fancy pastry candy thing. All right.
Yeah, and so that's what we're bringing over to my mom's house for our portion of the spread.
Well, that sounds delicious. This happy life in Saskatoon with your family, your sister nearby, your parents nearby. That's just amazing. I'm jealous of that life that you're living.
It's other than the 4 months of the year where it hurts your skin to walk outside. It's the best place to live in the world.
Yeah, right. We got to get you like a winter house or something. You gotta bank a mill so that you can winter here in Houston.
Yeah, though that's the thing. I wouldn't like we got the baby now, so I wouldn't want to leave anyways. I just never leave my house, so that's the answer. It's warm in here. What do I care if it is outside?
4 months out of the year, don't leave. I like it. Okay, we're gonna bounce on out of here. Dean says, aren't those a Starbucks thing? The Nanaimo bars, if that's I've never seen them.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I have not.
Maybe Starbucks has maybe they were selling really well at the Canadian Starbucks, so they started putting them in the American ones too.
Yeah, they need a better name. I don't know. Find it to be
confusing. They were originated in Nanaimo, BC. Hence the Nanaimo.
Actually, really glad I brought that up because I didn't like the name, and now that makes sense. Okay, we're gonna bounce on out of here. So for Taylor, for TJ, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love you, and we will catch you tomorrow. You have been